Okay. Hopefully everybody is able to return. Sorry. I noticed the previous meeting said that I need to wait 4 minutes, oh, 9 minutes, sorry, until I can reopen it. So I quickly swang to my other account. There you guys are. Okay, let's just get everybody admitted again. Okay. Okay, so yes, I would also say that it was perfect what you said, how you said it. Um, you can slow it down a bit, but preferably add your skills. Okay, get those skills in there somewhere. Okay, I'm just trying to admit everybody in. This admission is crazy when you have to admit. Okay, let's quickly see. Next up. So we saw those two videos and sorry, I'm just still admitting everybody in. Every now and then again, people pop up. Okay, and I decided to show you guys my kind of adult senior intro type of video, just to show you what I did. Now, do note I do not have the best background because my background is green, and the reason for the background being green is because I used the green screen with the ManyCam, and these videos were made quite a while ago. So let me quickly show you guys what I did for my intro video, just to showcase my talents a bit. Okay, let me quickly get to the beginning. Oh, and remember to share your sound. If you do not share your sound, no one will hear anything. Okay, listen carefully to my intro video. I hope everybody's here that wants to be here. Perfect. Let's go.
Hi, my name is Annie and I'm an English coach at Viverling. Let me tell you a little more about Annie. My full name is Antoinette, but I prefer you calling me Annie. I come from South Africa. Did you know South Africa has 11 official languages? Wow. My favorite animals are dogs. I love dogs and I actually have my own. My teaching experience stretches from 2009. I started teaching special needs children, mainly focusing on autistic. In 2013, I had my first daughter, which is my eldest, and decided to homeschool my own children. My teaching style consists of learn through play. I also have a student-centered approach. I teach from small to old, and with my older learners, I usually use role play or discussion to get them going. I hope you enjoyed my video. Looking forward to seeing.
Sorry, I stopped that a little too early. Sorry. Okay, so personally, I disliked my video totally because I got stuck the whole time. You guys maybe wouldn't have noticed it as much as I would have because I set up the video. Do note, it takes you hours to make these videos. It's not a 5 minute thing where you jump on and you say, I'm gonna make a video. Let's just get you get in front of that camera and you try recording that video, and it is horrendous. I have had to start my video over more times than I can actually count. Okay. Do not take that as a fail. Do not take it as it's bad. I can't do anything. Just do it again. Okay. And eventually you'll get to a point where you accept your video and you're kind of okay with it and you're kind of happy with it. And you just decide to grind your teeth and move on, and you just take that video now because you're sick of recording videos. Okay. So at the end of the day, they want you to showcase your talent, hear your accent, what you're saying, how you're portraying yourself. And that's what you need to do in these videos, because that's what they're going to see. They're not going to understand 90% of it. They're going to see it. Okay. And you need to show it to them because it's like us trying to read Chinese. What are you going to do? Okay. Let's quickly see. Next up, we have them. So sorry for extending and taking your time even further. I just want to get through all of these things. Okay. Do you guys have any questions? This is that time for open to questions. Anything that you've been wanting to know or wanting to find out?
Oh, the length of the introduction videos, it should be just a minute or under a minute. I don't think it should be longer.
Yeah, I would also say
Yeah.
keep it around about a minute. Minute, 30 seconds, that would also be fine, but don't go into a 3-5 minute type of story. That's really wasting your time, unless specifically asked. That's one thing. You have to also identify what they're asking you. Are they asking you to do a demo video? Are they asking you to do an intro video? What exactly? With your demo video, if they are asking you to do a demo video, it's plain and simple. You do the video if there's a kid there or if there's no kid there. If you're recording it, you do it just as if you would if there is a kid there. Okay, don't do it any different way. And you kind of imagine what I usually did with my demo videos, that they said you have to do a demo with a kid and everything. I got so uncomfortable that they told me to kind of like talk to myself. So I used to just take a little doll and I would just say, this is the students and I am me. And hi, Jerry, how are you? Oh, no, I'm fine, and just do it that way. Because for me, it was just really difficult for me to actually like have a whole class by myself, you understand? And not present it, but like you have to interact with nobody. So I took a puppet and my puppet was my students. And if they didn't like that, that's too bad on them. But that's what I did. Okay, so maybe you can do that to feel just a little more comfortable, have something there which you talk to or whatever, and maybe they would see a little personality there. You never know. Maybe that could win you an interview. Okay, any other questions? Or can we move on? I think we can move on. Everybody's quiet. Okay, next up, we've got finding a job. That's the worst part. Find a job. What do I need to apply for a job? First of all, what do you need? How do you apply for that job? Can anybody give me any recommendations?
I mean, you also look at the ad, right? What are they looking for?
Yes. What are they looking for? Generally, they would want a CV. They would want your intro video. And a lot of times a speed test. Okay, that could be a bit of a tricky one, but a lot of times they require a speed test. And due to the fact that we're in South Africa, a lot of times they require you to prove that you have more than one source of internet, or even when the power goes out, then you're still able to run it, as I'm sitting in load shedding at the moment. So you've got to be able to run it. Okay. You've got to be able to show them. A lot of companies even ask them for, I think it was internet cables. I had one hanging here some time ago. And I would just show them the internet cable because they would not accept that you're wireless. You understand? They want you to be connected with a cable. You need to show them the cable. Okay.
True.
So, and I mean, I even had the cable, seen them the cable. Yeah, I'm connected. Peace. Don't worry. Okay. You've got to do what you got to do. Get those things in order and get them sorted so that your companies don't struggle with you. Okay, but some of the things that I mentioned here, just the CV with a cover letter. A cover letter can be a great thing because you write a short description about yourself. However, keep it basic because people reading it, they're quite basic. Relax on the expressive grammar. Just keep it plain and simple here for us. Okay, intro video, we've already spoken a little bit about that, and your speed test. Okay. Oh, speed test can be quite challenging. I'll send you guys a site. I think I've already shared it in the chat where you can just go and test your speed. Go up there, test your speed, see what it's like. And I would personally recommend as high as possible. However, it can just depend. Let me quickly show you guys if I had to do my speed test now. Oh, I don't even want to. It's actually scary to think what it's like. But let me show you how you do it. go to your site, go to your run speed test, and you click on it. And then you keep your fingers crossed and you hope and you pray this is as high as possible. That's basically it. My speed's looking quite nice at the moment. I'm quite surprised it's maybe load shedding. No one's on the internet. And it's 22, and then the download or the upload will be 7 or 8. Your download will always be more than your upload. That just generally happens, okay? If it's vice versa, sometimes you get it, but generally your download's more than your upload, okay? And that I would say is quite a good speed. I've run Zoom on way less. I think it was the lowest I've got ran Zoom was like 0.5 or something megabits per second. And I was like really praying through this whole lesson because this student was in Indonesia and she had horrible internet and I had horrible internet, and it was just like really a horrible lesson. But we managed to run it and we could hear each other. And if you're struggling with the lesson, just an interesting tip, if you're struggling with the lesson, you can't hear the student, what do? Put off your camera. Okay, just let them put off their cameras. Yeah, put off your camera. Preferably let them put their cameras off because, I mean, yeah, I know some companies deduct if you don't have your camera open the whole time. Mine don't, but I just mean I know some companies are funny like that. Okay, so that's what I would definitely recommend. Get your speed test, and most, if not all, the companies are going to be asking you for a speed test. Get comfortable with having a speed test. And I would even recommend what I did is I went and I did, excuse me, I did speed tests on different networks at different times of the day. And I took the speed test that I had the highest network with the highest, any time of the day, and I sent that speed test in. You got to just compromise here, guys. You take what you can use. Okay, so you take that time, you sit up till 3 o'clock in the morning. If you can get your 80 megs on your line, you just do that. Okay, to get that what you need. Next up, let's see. Okay, so that's just finding a job basics. Next step. So after you've got those things sorted, what do? First, you do some research about your company's reputations. Okay, don't just go in and apply for any company. Let me tell you a story. My first company that I applied for was a fully Chinese company. Okay, I was actually shocked to get into it. I couldn't believe it. This was 2019, if I remember it correctly. What happened, it was just like kind of random that I applied to them and I got into this company. I don't know if you guys would be familiar with the company. It was called Likeshoe. Likeshow. Okay, Likeshoe. Okay, so it was quite a pink company. Everything was pink in this company. You even had to wear a pink shirt while giving class, else you would be deducted. Okay, basically, this company did not always have a good rap. However, I decided to apply for them because I actually just needed a company. What they did, a year went by and they reduced our pay, they reduced our bonuses. Oh man, it really starts going crazy when they start reducing your pay and reducing your bonuses. And then you've got these crazy limits that you need to reach to just get something in. Eventually, I kind of moved away from them, but I still kept staying on their group, seeing what's going on there. And what eventually happened is this company closed up and they ran away with teachers' salaries, and they ran away with about 2 to 3 months of teachers' salaries that they did not pay these teachers. So please, I would definitely say, not only search your company's reputations, have more than one company. Do not only swing with, oh, I've got this company, oh, it's so faithful. That doesn't always work. Unfortunately, you just got to work with that. I know some companies say you cannot work with different companies. Unfortunately, I just don't go with that. I've got to have more than one company I work for because you cannot promise me these hours. Okay, if you can promise me a permanent full schedule, it's a different story. But I promise you, you will not be able to promise that to me. So I'm sorry, it's just, you've got to be flexible like that and have more than one place. Oh, and key tip, if you could, it's not always possible, have different time zones, have Russians in this time, Chinese in this time, Korean in this time, or whatever. Have different, because the problem comes in when you've got Chinese and the South Koreans and they all go on holiday together. For those 2-3 months, where are you sitting? You're sitting without work. Let me tell you that, without getting paid. Okay, because they're going on holiday. So it would be much better to balance it out and say, for example, I need a American company and a French company and a Chinese company, or whatever you can balance. Okay, but keep that in mind. When I started off, I focused mainly on balancing those companies, because you want to be able to open as many hours as you possibly can. Okay, and to have that balance, they don't have the same peak hours, so then you can open these hours. But if you've got 3 Chinese companies, you're messing yourself up there, because you've got to open these 12 till 3 every single day for them, and you just can't do that. Okay, so try to keep that in mind while applying. Next one, okay, obviously you identify your company that you're interested in, and then what you need to definitely do, what you need to definitely do as well is email them. Send them an email. Okay, try to get their email and send them an email, even if it's to their HR or their whatever departments, or if you even can get a link into that company where you know a teacher that knows an HR or something like that, send that person the email. Okay, don't bother too much about going through all these third parties. You get lost in that. Send them a direct email if possible. Okay. If you can find it, sometimes on Teachers Records or places like that, you can actually like find that direct email, but sometimes you can. Okay, and then lastly, it was just use sites like GoodAir to identify potential companies. So there are quite a few sites, and what I did starting off is I got myself a list. I literally went and Googled everywhere, and I got myself a list and I wrote them down. And I went and I started at the top and I applied. I do understand a lot of companies say South Africans are non-natives. It's purely their opinion. Okay. No one will tell me I'm a non-native. You understand? So it's purely your opinion. It's fine and well. If you want to pay me less, I'm going to just move to another company. Okay, South African. I wouldn't say it's native or it's non-native, but English is a language in South Africa, so it's got to be quite native. Okay. So I wouldn't actually waste too much time with things like people saying it's non-native or whatever. You call yourself native and you just get over that. Okay, let's quickly see. Next up, CV and TEFL. What are some tips that we have for our CVs? Anything, guys? What do you think should be in your CV?
I think the basic things like you mentioned, I think, do we need to put the speed test results there as well in the CV?
Oh, yeah. That could be a good one to add. In some cases, they do want it and they'll ask it for it afterwards. But in a lot of cases, I wouldn't say it's needed, but you could add it there just for extra, just to be safe. Yes, definitely. Okay. So in the CV, yes. Sorry.
So if you haven't taught before, I mean, this would be a good one from you seasoned teachers to just tell us, what can you add in terms of experience?
You're probably going to have to laugh if you hear what I added to my CVs 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So to start off with, I had experience as a tutor with special needs children. So I had quite a bit of experience with that. However, you add any experience. If you've been a Sunday school teacher teaching kiddos, you add those 2 years that you put in there because you taught those kiddos. If you've been babysitting, you add the time that you sat that child, even if it was for an aunt or an uncle or a brother or a sister or whatever. Okay, they're not going to call you reference. I fully doubt that a Chinese guy is going to call you reference and say, hi, ma'am, did babysit for you 5 years ago. Seriously. Okay. But you use anything related to what you want to teach. So if I'm going to be teaching, for example, maths, I wouldn't be telling you about all my English experience. I would be telling you about my maths experience. You understand? So you've got to relate this and personalize it to what exactly you're teaching. That's where the key of your niche comes in, where you have to find your niche and then identify, okay, this is my niche. This is what I want to do. And once you've got that, you focus on that and you follow that. Okay. So, and that's where I want to just expand your mind and say your niche doesn't have to be only teaching. It's not to say that I'm an English teacher. I'm making a success of this. This is my life. I can tell you my whole success story, but it's not going to help you find your niche. And my niche is not going to help you either if it's not yours. Okay. So you've got to identify what you love doing, what you really enjoy. Okay, even if it's something crazy, if you're sitting and thinking to yourself, man, Annie, but you don't understand. I like crocheting in my part time because I'm like a granny, because I personally do it. Why don't you go and take that and put it on YouTube or design courses of how to crochet? Okay, you take your niche, you expand it. Okay, and in that way, you can find your market. There's a market for everybody. Goodness, there's billions of people out there. You just got to link into your niche and find your market through that. Okay. One thing that I would also definitely recommend with your CV. Oh, goodness gracious. What's that? There it is. Keep it short. Don't make it long. These guys can't read everything. They're not going to sit 3-4 hours reading a 6-7 page CV. They couldn't care less what's everything. Keep what you need to put in there. If you babysat in those years, you put that in there and you say, babysat children in English language, if you need to. Okay. You keep all of that in there, which would link you to these jobs. Okay. So keep the audience in mind. Who are you going to? Are you going to be teaching adults or are you going to be teaching children? And this is very important for what you're going to be teaching. If you're going to be teaching adults, you do not want to put in your babysitting experience in there. You want to put in your, well, depending on which area you go, if you're going to business, you would want to be putting in your maybe store manager experience or your whatever business you've actually contributed in experience. Okay, you want to show them that you're capable of teaching business. You're capable of talking about sales, talking about marketing, all of those things. Okay, but if you're going for a child's position or a teacher for children, you've got to remember to keep it small, keep it for children. You worked with children. You specialized in children. You did this with little ones or whatever. Okay. Doesn't help putting your marketing experience into a child's CV and your children or child's experience into your marketing CV or your business English CV. It just clashes. And that's where it gets back to the point where you're going to have to, unfortunately, set up a CV for not every single company, but every area you want to go into it so that you can specialize it. Okay. Okay, so if you've got a problem with your voice and your accent, what you can always do is man, I've known a lot of teachers and I've heard this advice quite a bit that what they do is they download like Friends and Emily in Paris was another one. You watch a series and you talk exactly like that they do. And that's what you do. Okay, and you mimic that and you make what you need to do. We got taught at school, when you speak, you need to pretend that there's a hot potato in your mouth. So when you speak properly. And in this way, eventually you get to form your words around your bubble in your mouth. So that would maybe be a tip. But what I would just suggest, and I actually personally know teachers, because a lot of teachers I know don't have yeah, the English accent. They've got more of a, oi guys, how are you guys doing? We are doing very well at the moment, and we can all talk like this. I do know that, okay. But you don't need to talk like that. You can change that, and you can actually go and practice. Guys, this is just all about how serious you are about that. I know teachers who actually sat hours and hours revising these words and getting these pronunciations correctly because they really wanted that. Okay, they wanted that speech. Some of them are born with it, some of them you need to practice. If you need to practice it, you just need to practice it. And then after you've practiced it, you do that speech the best you can. Okay. Okay, let's quickly see. Next up. Okay, sorry. The last one there was just using your keywords. We've already spoken a little bit about that. Using the keywords as online English, anything that comes up in the advert that you're applying to would probably stand out for them. Okay, and then the TEFL and the TESOL. Let's quickly just check out that one. Ooh, don't want to work now. There you are. So TEFL and TESOL, as I mentioned earlier, TEFL would be more Chinese. TESOL would be more to do with your Russian, your European countries, and so on. I'm not going to be recommending any TEFL or TESOL courses, and the reason for that is I just don't want to promote anybody because I do not think there's a right and the wrong place to get it. It just kind of depends what your budget looks like and where you can actually get it. Okay, it's the same as equipment. It doesn't help me saying, oh, you need to get your iMac and your these and that. It just depends what your budget accommodates at that time. Okay, so that's what I would say about the TEFL and the TESOL. And then we are finished. Any questions? Anybody?
Ask,
Yeah.
what sort of series do you think one should watch to just improve the accent besides Friends? And I think you said Emily in Paris. Is there another one? Desperate Housewives, I've seen on one of the platforms as something they learn from or you can use for teaching. So I think that's one of them. Yeah.
I personally haven't used Desperate Housewives. To be really honest with you, I've seen more of like Emily in Paris and so on, but I don't like, I do work with adults, but they're Russian, so they're more into the whole, well, a lot of my adults are actually into like South Korean movies and things like that. Yeah, it's the strangest, the strangest thing. So it just kind of depends, I would say, which area you want to go into, what accent you want to lean more to. If you want to lean more to the British, then you've got to lean more to that. However, movies could also be amazing. I've seen some movies that are really like, oh, I love that chick's accent, how she speaks, what she says. So at the end of the day, it just depends what suits you because you're going to have to be doing it the whole time and speaking like that the whole time. So it's going to have to literally be like a second language that you're going to have to learn if you want to keep that accent. And the more you practice it, obviously, the more you'll be able to do it. When I first started, I was very aware of my accent. It was really, really bad for me because like everything I said, I would listen to everything I said and I would repeat it in my head and it would like the whole time it would get to me. And I would personally say, do watch out for taking a lot of those things up too personally. If you can speak English and you can have a conversation and you've got quite a neutral accent, it should be fine. But a lot of people can just be harsh, especially when it comes to the teaching world. And do watch out to take too much of that criticism up, to heart because it's not always, sometimes they're just being full of it. to be really honest with you. And in a lot of cases, I mean, if you can have a neutral accent, it should be quite fine, because that's actually what they want. They don't want you to be extremely Scottish or extremely American or extremely British, because then they struggle to understand what they're saying. You understand? They want you to be like more neutral. That's why they say, are you British, American, or neutral? A lot of times you're more neutral. You're not leaning to one either or. So that's what I would suggest. Go and check that out if you're able to. Go through them, practice it a little bit, but watch out for being too wary of that if it's not so much necessary. Some people do actually need it, and it's quite a good point. But if you're already confident in speaking English confidently, I think it could just have been a personal thing maybe, and saying, oh man, I don't want you to hire you, and that's why your accent's not good. They use that a lot of times with South Africans. So yes, can be challenging, and load shedding. So yes, okay. Any other questions that I can help with? We've still got about 10 minutes left, and then we are done.
So basically with the CV or the resume, we said we can put a picture of ourselves if we want. We can put a picture and then the experience, like our skills, and then the places where we worked, like the history and
Yes.
the speed test, as you mentioned. So it shouldn't be
Yes.
really long. It should be about
No.
1 page. Yeah.
One, maximum 2 pages. It would be great to put a picture of yourself in there, because they really do enjoy like seeing you and first impressions. And remember, if you do take this picture, take a proper picture. Don't be sending a picture where you're on holiday or, at the beach or something like that. You'll be wanting a professional picture. You're applying for a position there. So do keep that in mind as well. However, that could be a good touch to your CV. I think in my CV, I did also add a picture, if I remember it correctly. So that would be recommended. Definitely. Okay, okay. Any other questions? No, are you guys all perfectly fine? Man, then I did quite an okay job if you don't have any questions. That's all that says. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I will save these videos. I will see you in the next week. Hopefully I'll be able to upload it and get it all set up and everything. Then I'll send you guys the link. The guys that were in the workshop, you guys can revisit, maybe just go back and something and review it, ask some questions if you need it. And then let's see, maybe in the future, if there's anything you guys are really struggling with, we could maybe check it out a little bit, get you guys a little bit of help on it. And yes, other guys, thank you guys for coming and arriving. And it was really, really fun to meet everybody. I hope you guys got some useful tips from this meeting. Otherwise, do you guys have anything else to say? Anybody wants to say anything?
Thank you. Thank you to both ladies, Malini and Annie.
Oh,
Thank you,
no,
guys.
always a pleasure. Thank you. Okay, we'll see you guys next time. Have a good evening. Bye.
Bye.